Close your eyes now, my sweet listener. Let the soft rain begin to fall outside your window. Gentle, steady, like tiny fingers tapping on glass just to remind you that you're safe in bed. Feel the weight of your blanket settle over your shoulders, warm and heavy, the way a memory sometimes wraps itself over your heart when you least expect it. Tonight, I'm going to whisper you the entire story of eternal sunshine of the spotless mind. Every secret, every tear, every stolen kiss, every hidden corner of Joel Barish's mind. Because sometimes the only way to truly let go is to hold the whole thing one last time, softly, like holding snow that you know will melt. Let your breathing slow with mine, in and out. Good. You already know how some memories feel too big for the body, how they press against the inside of your ribs at 3 a.m. and make you wonder if erasing them would finally let you sleep. Have you ever lain awake wishing you could hire someone to come in the night and quietly vacuum a person out of your head? Just breathe into that question for a moment. Notice where it sits in your chest and let it soften. Tonight we're going to walk through Joel and Clementine's love story the way you walk through an old house you once lived in. Slowly, touching the walls, smelling the dust, remembering exactly where the light used to fall through the kitchen window on Sunday mornings. The film was released in 2004, directed by the dreamy Frenchman Michel Gondry, written by the endlessly imaginative Charlie Kaufman, and it won the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay because it dared to say that love is worth the pain, even when the pain is enormous. Fun little trivia for your sleepy mind. Jim Carrey, our Joel, took this dramatic role right after years of wild comedies because he wanted to prove he could break your heart as easily as he could make you laugh. And Kate Winslet dyed her hair that electric Clementine orange blue-green herself in her own bathtub the night before shooting began. Feel that rain outside getting a tiny bit louder, like it's leaning in to listen too. Imagine you're lying on a frozen beach in Montauk, Long Island in February. The wind is sharp, but not unkind. It smells of salt and wood smoke and something faintly sweet, like someone far away is burning sugar. Your boots crunch on brittle ice. That's where Joel wakes up one morning with a little hungover, a little empty, and decides, without knowing why, to skip work and take the train out to the cold ocean. He doesn't know it yet, but Clementine has done the exact same thing from the opposite direction. Two lonely people, pulled by an invisible thread they both already agreed to cut. Have you ever felt that tug? That quiet, stubborn feeling that says, "Go there now," even when it makes no sense. Let your shoulders sink deeper into the pillow as you remember a time you followed it or didn't. While you drift, picture the little Montauk bookstore where they first speak again, though they don't know it's again yet. Clementine is wearing a bright orange hoodie, hair the color of traffic cones and tidal pools, and she smiles at Joel like she's daring the whole world to try and stop her from being exactly who she is. Joel, shy, scribbles in his journal, heart beating too loud. She teases him for being quiet. He blushes the way only Jim Carrey can blush when he's pretending not to be a movie star. They end up on the frozen beach together that night, lying on their backs looking at the stars. And she tells him her name is Clementine, after the song "Oh My Darling," and he says his is Joel. And it feels like the simplest, most perfect thing anyone has ever said. The waves hush 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 behind my voice right now, can you hear them? They're promising you that everything is going to be okay. Before we step fully into their love story, let me tell you one more tiny secret. The title comes from a poem by Alexander Pope about forgetting a lost love. But in the movie, the line is spoken by Mary, the receptionist at Lacuna, quoting it wrong on purpose, because even literature gets bruised by heartbreak. And now, as the rain softens into the gentlest drizzle. Let your eyelids grow impossibly heavy. We're about to follow Joel into the clinic where memories are erased, then deeper, into the glowing corridors of his own mind as it fights to keep her. Are you ready to fall with me? Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 8. Perfect. Here we go, darling. The story is just beginning, and you are completely safe inside it. Joel Barish wakes up on Valentine's Day 2004, or what he thinks is Valentine's Day, with a bruise-colored sadness in his chest he can't explain. His apartment is quiet, gray light leaking through the blinds, the radiator clinking like anemic little sighs. He sits on the edge of his bed in mismatched socks, staring at a tear in his journal where 2 pages have been ripped out. He doesn't remember ripping them. He only knows something is missing. The way you sometimes wake up certain you've forgotten how to speak a language you once dreamed in. Have you ever touched an empty space in your own mind and felt cold fingers there? Rest into that feeling for a moment. Let it soften. It's safe to look. He drives to the train station on impulse, parks crookedly, runs through the February wind with his coat half buttoned. On the platform he sees a woman in a bright blue coat, hood up, hair the color of traffic lights at night, orange one moment, green the next, depending on how the weak sun hits it. She is talking to no one, laughing at something only she can hear. When the train comes, she sits 2 rows ahead of him, humming. Joel watches the back of her neck and feels his heart do a small, frightened skip. He doesn't know why. In Montauk, the air tastes metallic and alive. Joel walks the boardwalk alone until he sees her again, the blue-coat girl, buying hot chocolate from a shack that shouldn't even be open in winter. She turns, notices him staring, and instead of looking away, she smiles the kind of smile that says, "I dare you to come closer." Her name, she tells him, is Clementine Kruczynski. She shortens it to Clem, the way you shorten a fuse before you light it. She asks if he wants to share the hot chocolate, because the cup is too big and her hands are freezing. Their fingers brush when he takes it, hers icy, his trembling, and the steam between them smells like burnt sugar and childhood snow days. She laughs when he almost spills it on himself. He laughs like breaking glass in the best possible way. That night they walk the frozen beach. The sand is hard as pavement under their boots, crackling. The ocean is black glass edged with white foam. Clementine lies down first, spreads her arms like she's making snow angels in ice, and tells him to lie beside her. Above them the stars are sharp enough to cut paper. She points out constellations and makes up new ones. There's the drunken giraffe. There's the broken umbrella. Joel, who hasn't spoken more than 20 words to another human in weeks, finds himself telling her about the time he collected dead things as a child. Birds with broken wings, seashells with holes, sadnesses he didn't have names for yet. She listens the way some people pray. When she turns her face to him, her breath fogs between them, warm and sweet with chocolate. She whispers, "You can kiss me if you want." He does. It tastes like winter and beginning. They spend the next weeks inseparable. She drags him to a half-frozen pond to skate badly. He holds her up when she falls, her laughter muffled against his scarf. They break into an empty beach house at night, dance barefoot on cold hardwood to a song playing from her portable speaker, the song "Everybody's Gotta Learn Sometime" by Beck echoing off the walls like a prophecy. She dyes her hair a new color every few days, Agent Orange, then Blue Ruin, then something called green revolution that stains the bathtub for weeks. Joel watches her in the mirror, tongue out in concentration, and thinks this must be what joy looks like when it's not afraid of being seen. But cracks appear gently, the way ice thins before it breaks. Clementine gets loud when she's scared. Joel gets quiet when he's hurt. She wants to meet his friends. He says he doesn't really have any. She throws a plate during an argument about nothing and everything. He stares at the shards like they're evidence. One night she disappears for 3 days. When she comes back smelling of someone else's cigarettes, she cries in his kitchen. Mascara rivers down her cheeks and says, "I ruin everything beautiful things, Joel. I always do." He holds her anyway, forehead to forehead, whispering, it's okay, even though both of them can feel the okay slipping away like sand through fingers. Then one morning, Joel goes to her apartment with apology flowers and finds her laughing with a man he doesn't know. She looks at him, really looks, and her face goes blank. "Do I know you?" she asks, polite, distant. The man introduces himself as Patrick, a technician from Lacuna Inc., the company that erases people from other people's minds. Joel drives home in shock, parks outside his building, and sits in the cold car crying without sound because he finally understands. She erased him. Every kiss, every fight, every 3 a.m. whispered secret, gone from her head like chalk wiped from a board. Have you ever been erased by someone you love? Or felt the terror that one day you might erase yourself from their heart, just by being too much or not enough? Let that ache rise gently, notice its shape, and then let the rain outside carry a little of it away. Desperate, Joel goes to Lacuna himself. Dr. Howard Mierzwiak, soft-spoken and kindly in his cardigan, explains the procedure. They map the emotional imprint of Clementine in Joel's brain while he sleeps, then erase it synapse by synapse. Mary, the receptionist, quotes Alexander Pope wrong. How happy is the blameless Vestal's lot, the world forgetting by the world forgot. Eternal sunshine of the spotless mind, and smiles like someone who believes forgetting is mercy. Joel signs the forms. He gathers every object that holds her. Ticket stubs, a snow globe she stole from a diner, the potato stamp they used to make Valentine cards, and brings them to the clinic so the technicians can target the memories more precisely. That night, in his apartment, Stan and Patrick set up the equipment. 2 electrodes on the temples, a laptop humming, a little machine that looks like a hairdryer from the future. Joel swallows the sedative. The room tilts. The last thing he sees is the map of his brain glowing on the screen, red threads of Clementine everywhere, tangled and bright. Then darkness folds over him like a blanket. And that, my sleepy love, is only the beginning of the fall. The real story starts when Joel realizes, far too late, that he doesn't want to forget her after all. But we'll save that panic and that fight for the next whisper. For now, let the rain keep falling. Let your body sink 1 inch deeper into the mattress. Let every muscle unclench. You are safe. The memories, yours and Joel's, are being held so gently tonight. Joel opens his eyes inside a memory that is already flickering at the edges, like an old film reel catching in the projector. He is sitting at a kitchen table in his apartment, late evening, the overhead light too yellow, too honest. Clementine is across from him, wearing the green revolution hair, eating Chinese takeout straight from the carton with chopsticks she can never quite master. Soy sauce, drips onto her wrist and she licks it off without thinking, eyes on him the whole time. She is saying, "I'm not a concept, Joel. I'm just a fucked up girl who's looking for my own peace of mind. Don't assign me yours." The words sting because they are true. He reaches for her hand, and the moment his fingers touch hers, the table begins to dissolve, wooden surface turning to sand that runs through the cracks between the floorboards. The overhead bulb pops. Darkness rushes in from the corners. Joel understands, with a sudden clarity that only comes in dreams, that this memory is being erased right now, right in front of him. He panics. Wait, no, I'm still here, I'm inside it. But no one can hear him except himself. He runs. The apartment collapses behind him like a deck of cards in slow motion. He bursts out into the hallway, but the hallway is now open straight onto the frozen Montauk beach the night they first kissed. The stars are still there, brighter than real life, almost hurting to look at. Clementine is lying exactly where she was that first night, orange hoodie glowing like a lantern against the snow. She smiles up at him, trusting, open. "Hi," she says, as if they have never fought, as if nothing bad has ever happened. Joel drops to his knees beside her, heart hammering so hard he can feel it in his teeth. "Don't leave me this time," he whispers. She tilts her head, confused. "I'm not going anywhere, silly." And then her face starts to blur, pixels of color sliding off like wet paint. He tries to hold her cheeks, but his hands pass straight through. She is becoming smoke. He screams her name, and the sound is swallowed by the wind. Trivia drifting softly past your ear. This entire sequence was shot using practical effects whenever possible. Michel Gondry built collapsing sets on wheels so walls could literally fall away behind Jim Carrey as he ran. Kate Winslet performed many of the memory scenes twice, once as the real Clementine, and once as the fading version, so the lighting could be slightly colder each time, almost imperceptibly, until she looked like a ghost even while standing right in front of you. Feel how clever that is? The movie itself is erasing her in real time. Joel stumbles backward into another memory. The night they broke into the empty beach house on Charles River in Boston. It's summer now, impossibly, cicadas screaming in the dark. The windows are open and humid air smells of cut grass and spilled wine. Clementine is dancing barefoot on the dusty hardwood, arms above her head, singing along to "Everybody's Gotta Learn Sometime." So off-key it's perfect. Joel watches from the doorway, half drunk on cheap Merlot, thinking, "I want to keep this exact second in a jar forever." She grabs his hands and pulls him into the dance. Their shadows on the wall are huge, tangled, beautiful. Then the record starts to skip, the same lyric repeating, "Change your heart, change your heart, change your heart," and the floorboards begin to rot beneath their feet, turning soft and black like burnt paper. Clementine's smile falters. "Joel, something's wrong." He tries to pull her toward the door, but the door is gone. The walls fold inward. The song distorts into a low, mechanical hum. He holds her as tightly as he can while she dissolves into colored light between his arms. Have you ever held someone in a dream and felt them slipping no matter how hard you gripped? Let your fingers relax on the blanket now. Notice they are safe. No one is slipping tonight except into deeper sleep. Desperate, Joel starts to run through memories faster, trying to outrun the erasure the way you sometimes sprint through a nightmare hoping to wake up. He crashes into the bookstore in Montauk, where they first spoke again. The shelves are collapsing inward, books sliding off like waterfalls of paper. Clementine is behind the counter in her blue hair this time, stamping returned on a book with unnecessary force. She looks up, and for one heartbeat, her eyes are terrified. "They're coming for us," she whispers. "Who?" he asks. She points behind him. Two men in Lacuna uniforms, Stan and Patrick, are walking down the aisle pushing a cart that looks like a hotel room service trolley, but carries the brain mapping machine instead of breakfast. Their footsteps make no sound. Joel grabs Clementine's hand, and they run out the back into a memory of Valentine's Day at a parade in New York. Giant balloons of cartoon characters float above them, but their faces are deflating slowly, sagging against the sky. Confetti sticks to their hair. Clementine laughs, and it sounds like breaking glass. They duck into a side street that turns into Joel's childhood kitchen in Long Island. 1970s linoleum, avocado green fridge humming. Joel is suddenly 4 years old, hiding under the table in oversized rain boots while adult Clementine crawls in beside him, still grown, still blue-haired, impossibly big in this tiny space. She whispers, "It's okay, we can hide here." The boots smell of rubber and wet dog. Sunlight comes through the tablecloth in dusty shafts. For a moment, the erasure can't find them. Joel, tiny again, feels something he hasn't felt since he really was 4. Absolute safety. Adult Joel, watching from inside the child's body, starts to cry without sound. Clementine strokes his hair and says, "Shh, I've got you, I've got you." Then the table begins to rise into the air, lifted by invisible hands. The memory is being pulled up like a rug. They cling to each other as the kitchen tilts and everything slides. Another trivia, soft as a feather. The childhood scenes were filmed with forced perspective sets, and adult Kate Winslet on her knees so she would appear giant next to tiny Elijah Wood, who cameos as little Patrick, and tiny Jim Carrey, thanks to clever camera angles. Gondry wanted the audience to feel exactly how overwhelming love can be when it arrives in a life that still feels too small for it. Have you ever wished you could crawl back into a childhood hiding place and bring the person you love with you? Let that longing rise and fall like a slow wave. Notice it doesn't have to hurt tonight. It can just be a wave. Joel, frantic now, realizes the only way to save her is to take her somewhere the map doesn't know about, somewhere off the grid of his own memories. So he grabs her hand and pulls her into the deepest, most shameful places. The memory of being bullied in 2nd grade, pants pulled down in front of the whole class, urine warm down his leg, laughter sharp as needles. The playground sand turns to quicksand. The children's faces are blank, featureless. Clementine holds him while he sobs the way only a grown man remembering childhood humiliation can sob. She kisses the top of his head and says, "I see you, all of you, and I'm still here." The bullies fade. The sand becomes solid again. They run on. The rain inside his mind is falling upward now, drops rising into a black sky like reverse tears. We'll pause here, darling, right at the edge of the deepest dive. Your body is heavy, your mind quiet. Let the upward rain carry every leftover worry tonight. When we come back, Joel will try to hide Clementine in the one place Lacuna will never look. Joel understands the rules now. The erasure follows the emotional brightness of each memory. The hotter the feeling, the faster it burns away. So he drags Clementine into the coldest, grayest corners of his life, places Lacuna's map barely registered. They stumble into a rainy afternoon in 1982. Joel is 9, sitting alone on the back steps of his parents' house, watching ants carry crumbs bigger than themselves. The sky is the color of wet cement. Clementine sits beside him, adult-sized again, knees drawn up, chin on them, hair dripping. She doesn't say anything clever or loud. She just watches the ants with him. After a long silence, she whispers, "They don't give up, do they?" "Joel?" He looks at her and realizes she is crying quietly. Not for the ants. For him. For every time he felt invisible. The memory flickers but doesn't vanish. The emotion here is too quiet to trigger the machine. They stay long enough for the rain to soak through their clothes. Long enough for young Joel to feel, for the first time, that someone sees the exact shape of his loneliness and isn't scared of it. Have you ever been seen like that? Truly seen. Without performance, without apology. Let your chest rise and fall with that question. Notice how soft the answer can be tonight. They run again. They burst into the memory of Joel's first apartment after college. Peeling wallpaper. A single bulb swinging. He is 23, drunk on cheap vodka, crying because a girl named Naomi left him for someone who owned more than 2 plates. Clementine finds him curled on the bathroom floor, cheek against cold tile that smells of bleach and despair. She lies down beside him, spoons him from behind, wraps her arms around his shaking body, and whispers into the nape of his neck, "You were enough then, and you are enough now." The tile warms beneath them. The bulb stops swinging. The memory holds. But Stan and Patrick are learning. Outside, in the real-world apartment, we hear muffled voices through Joel's sleeping skull. Stan complaining the map keeps shifting. Patrick nervously smoking another joint. Mary, sweet clueless Mary, reads Eloise to her belly because she thinks the baby might be Mark Ruffalo's. None of them realize the patient is fighting back. Inside, Joel pulls Clementine into the most forbidden place of all, the day his dog died when he was 12. He had carried the limp body to the woods behind the house, dug a grave with a plastic shovel that kept bending. The earth smelled like roots and pennies. Clementine kneels with him now, helps lower the imagined bundle wrapped in an old beach towel. They cover it together, handful by handful of cool soil. When it's done, she presses her forehead to his and says, "Letting go doesn't mean stopping loving." The memory glows steady gold. The erasure spotlight slides right over it, unable to find purchase in simple grief. Trivia, whispered like a secret between friends. The dog's name was Max, and the real childhood scene was improvised. Jim Carrey actually cried remembering his own childhood pet, and Gondry kept the camera rolling for 12 silent minutes while Kate held him. They used the take 7 in the final cut, because that was when Jim's breathing finally slowed and he looked, for one frame, at peace. They keep running. A memory of Clementine asleep on his couch, mouth slightly open, one sock missing, television flickering blue across her face. He had watched her for an hour that night, thinking, "I want to be the person who makes her feel safe enough to sleep like this." Now inside the memory, he crawls onto the couch behind her, fits his body to hers, buries his face in her hair that smells like coconut shampoo and cigarette smoke, and something indefinably her. She sighs in her sleep and pushes back against him. For 30 perfect seconds, the erasure can't touch them. Then the television explodes into white static, and the couch begins to sink into the floor like quicksand made of feathers. Clementine suddenly understands the trick. "Take me somewhere humiliating," she says urgently. "Somewhere you never told anyone about." Joel hesitates, then nods. The scene shifts violently. They are in a dimly lit basement at a college party. Joel is 19, drunk, trying to impress a girl by letting her and her friends dress him in women's clothes for laughs. Lipstick too red, skirt too tight, high heels he can't walk in. The laughter is cruel, echoing. Present-day Joel wants to die of shame all over again. But Clementine steps forward, still in her orange hoodie, and starts clapping slowly. "You look incredible," she says loudly, sincerely. "Own it, baby." The college kids falter, confused. One by one, they start clapping too, genuine this time. The memory flips from humiliation to triumph. The spotlight of erasure passes overhead again, blinded. Have you ever taken your most painful memory and let someone you love rewrite the ending with kindness? Feel that possibility settle warm behind your ribs? Stay there. They are tiring now. The memories are growing thinner, more translucent. Joel's childhood bedroom, wallpaper with tiny sailboats. Nightlight shaped like a rocket ship. He hides Clementine under the bed with him, both of them lying on their stomachs, cheeks pressed to the dusty carpet that smells like crayons and old blankets. She whispers knock-knock jokes that make no sense, and he laughs until his eyes water. Outside the door, his mother calls. "Joel, time for dinner." But the voice is distorted, slowed down, demonic. The door handle starts to turn. Clementine kisses him quickly, fiercely. "I love you exactly here," she says. "Exactly like this." The door opens and white light floods in. Last stand. They run to the memory of the frozen Montauk beach the very first night. But this time, the tide is coming in fast. Black water eating the sand. The stars are falling like sparks from a dying firework. Joel grabs both her hands. "I can't hide you anymore," he says, voice breaking. "Then don't hide me," she answers. "Just be with me while it happens." They sit exactly where they sat that first night. The water rises to their ankles, their knees, their waists. It is warm, strangely comforting. Clementine leans her head on his shoulder. "Okay," she says, the last word she ever says to him in the film. The water closes over their heads. Everything goes white. But wait. One final flicker. A memory so small the map never cataloged it. Clementine in his kitchen at 4 a.m., making grilled cheese sandwiches, humming, barefoot in one of his old shirts, hair a sleepy mess. She flips the sandwich and looks over her shoulder at him with a buttery smile that says, "I'm happy right now, and it's because of you." Joel clings to this tiny moment like a drowning man clings to driftwood. The spotlight finds it anyway. The kitchen light dims. The humming stops mid-note. Clementine raises her hand in a small, brave wave goodbye. And then she is gone. The rain outside your window has almost stopped now. Just the occasional drop sliding down the glass like a leftover tear. Let your whole body feel how heavy and calm it has become. Joel is almost empty now, almost spotless. But not quite yet. There is one more act, one more impossible hope. Rest here for a moment. Let the silence after the storm hold you. When you're ready, we'll follow the tapes that escaped, and the morning after the night everything was supposed to disappear. Joel wakes in his bed at dawn, the morning after the procedure. The apartment is silent except for the soft click of the radiator cooling. His head feels scooped out, strangely light, like someone removed of a tumor he didn't know he had. He touches his temples where the electrodes were. Only the faintest pink circles remain. For one peaceful minute he believes it worked. Then he looks at the bedside table and sees the snow globe Clementine stole from the diner still sitting there, tiny plastic snow swirling over a miniature Montauk beach. A wave of nausea and love hits him at the same time. He doesn't remember why he loves her, only that he does, bone deep, the way you remember how to breathe even after someone has punched you in the chest. He dresses slowly, every movement underwater. Outside, the city is pale and new-washed. He walks without direction until he finds himself on the train to Montauk again, pulled by the same invisible thread as the very first morning. The beach is empty except for one figure in a bright orange hoodie, hood down, hair now a soft faded purple from too many dye jobs. She is skipping stones badly, each one plunking straight down instead of skimming. Joel's heart stops, restarts, stops again. He walks toward her like a man in a dream who knows he will wake up the moment he touches anything real. She turns. Recognition flickers across her face, then confusion, then something warmer. "Hi," she says. Voice exactly the same, raspy from cold air and cigarettes. "Do I know you?" Joel swallows. No, he lies because the truth is too big. "I just saw you skipping stones like you were mad at the ocean." She laughs, startled and delighted. "That obvious, huh?" They talk. It is clumsy, brand new, terrifying. She tells him her name is Clementine Kruczynski. He tells her his is Joel Barish. They both feel the names land like stones dropped into still water, ripples spreading everywhere. Have you ever met someone and felt the universe nudge you, whispering this one, remember this one, even when your mind swears it's the first time? Let that nudge settle behind your eyes now, gentle, curious. Meanwhile, miles away, Mary Svivo, the receptionist with the Eloise quotes and the hopeless crush on Dr. Mierzwiak, has received a package from an anonymous source. Thick manila envelopes, addressed to every Lacuna patient, containing cassette tapes of their own pre-procedure interviews. Mary listens to hers first. She hears her own drunken voice confessing love to Howard while he gently, paternalistically, lets her down. The betrayal is soft but absolute. Shaking, she drives through the night, delivering the rest of the tapes by hand, sliding them under doors like contraband forgiveness. Joel's tape arrives while he is still on the beach with Clementine. He returns home to find the envelope on his mat. He plays it in his old Walkman, headphones clamped tight. His own voice, thick with tears. Why do I fall in love with every woman I see who shows me the least bit of attention? Then Clementine's voice, furious and fragile. I'm not a concept, Joel. I wish I could meet someone who just likes me messy. Every fight, every insecurity, every private humiliation laid bare. He sits on the floor and listens until the tape ends, with a hollow click. His buzzer rings. It is Clementine, eyes red from her own tape, holding the cassette like evidence. So we dated, she says, half laughing and crying at once. And it was messy. Joel nods, unable to speak. She steps inside. They play each other's tapes in silence, sitting on opposite ends of the couch like teenagers afraid to touch. When Clementine's voice says, "He's just this guy who's nice to me, you know," Joel finally cries the way he couldn't inside the memories. When Joel's voice admits he is scared she will leave again, Clementine scoots closer, lays her head on his shoulder. The room smells faintly of wet wool and burnt toast from breakfast neither of them finished. Trivia. Soft as a blanket lint. The final hallway scene where they listen to the tapes was shot in one continuous 6-minute take. Kate and Jim stayed in character for hours beforehand, listening to real recordings of their own private fears that Gondry had secretly collected during rehearsals. The tears you see are not acting. They are relief. They sit in the quiet after the tapes end. Snow has started to fall outside the window, thick lazy flakes that look weightless. Clementine finally speaks. "I can't promise I won't hurt you again. I get loud, I run." Joel answers, voice hoarse. "I can't promise I won't shut down or get jealous or boring. I'm inadequate in a lot of ways." They look at each other, really look. She smiles first, crooked and brave. "Okay," she says. He smiles back, the same smile from the very first beach night. "Okay," he echoes. Have you ever stood at the edge of a second chance and felt terrified and grateful in the exact same heartbeat? Let that feeling bloom slow and warm in your chest. It is allowed to stay. They walk out into the hallway of Joel's building, hand in hand, snow melting in their hair. The camera pulls back, up through the ceiling, up through the roof, up into the white sky until the two tiny figures are almost lost in the vastness of the city. The last sound is their laughter echoing faintly up the stairwell, imperfect, stubborn, alive. Another gentle trivia. Michel Gondry insisted on real snow for that final shot. They shot in February, freezing, waiting for the perfect storm. When it finally came, the crew only had 40 minutes before the light changed. They got the take on the first try. Kate said later she could feel the entire movie exhale. And now, my sweetest listener, the story is almost over. Joel and Clementine will fight again, probably tomorrow. They will also dance in the kitchen at 4 a.m. and dye their hair ridiculous colors and forgive each other 1,000 small deaths. Love, the film whispers, is not a spotless mind. Love is a mind full of stains you choose to keep anyway. Let your own mind grow spotless now, but only of tension, only of worry. Let every memory you carry tonight feel held, seen, loved, exactly as it is. You do not have to erase anything to be at peace. Feel the hush after their laughter in the hallway. Hear it echo all the way here, to you. Two small, imperfect people saying okay to every future fight, every future kiss, every future 4 a.m. grilled cheese sandwich, and every future tear. That single word, okay, is the bravest sound I have ever heard. It is not a promise that nothing will hurt. It is a promise that the hurt will be worth it. Can you feel that promise brushing against your own skin tonight? Let it settle over you like the warmest blanket you own. Have you ever loved someone messy or been loved while you were messy? Have you ever chosen to begin again knowing exactly how it might end? Rest your hand over your heart for a moment. Feel how steadily it keeps choosing, over and over, without asking permission. That is what Joel and Clementine gave back to each other, the right to be fully human and still be wanted. Trivia, whispered so softly it is almost just breath. The very last frame of the film, the one that lingers after the credits start, is a single long take of fresh snow covering their footprints on the beach, until the sand is completely white again. Gondry said he wanted to show that every morning the world quietly offers us a clean page, and we get to decide whether we will walk across it with someone else, even if we already know where some of the bruises will appear. Another tiny secret. Kate Winslet kept the orange hoodie after filming ended. She still has it. She says when she is having a bad day, she puts it on and remembers that being bright and loud and a little too much is sometimes exactly what another person needs in order to feel alive. And one final whisper, just for you. The poem that gave the film its title ends with the line, "Eternal sunshine of the spotless mind, each prayer accepted and each wish resigned." But Joel and Clementine teach us something gentler, that a mind full of scratches and stains and beautiful scars can still be a kind of sunshine, especially when it chooses to turn toward another scarred, stained, brilliant mind and say, without hesitation, okay. So here is your lullaby tonight. You do not need to be spotless. You do not need to be fixed or finished or fearless. You only need to be willing, tomorrow or the day after or the year after, to meet someone. Maybe the someone you already know. Maybe the someone you haven't met yet. Maybe the someone you see in the mirror. And whisper, okay. And when they whisper it back, you will both be home. Let the snow keep falling outside Joel's window. Let the waves keep smoothing the sand. Let every memory you carry tonight, the sweet ones and the sharp ones, curl up at the foot of your bed like loyal dogs that only want to keep watch while you rest. I am going to grow quieter now. The rain has stopped completely. The wind has curled up somewhere warm. All that is left is the slow, steady rhythm of your breathing. In and out, matching the quiet hush of an ocean that has decided for tonight to be gentle. You are loved exactly as you are. You are enough exactly as you are. Sleep now, my darling. Dream of orange hoodies and frozen beaches and second chances that arrive wearing the same smile they wore the very first time. Dream of saying okay and meaning it with every broken, beautiful piece of your heart. Good night, good night, good night.